In this lesson, we're going to be talking about managing Windows instances with Ansible. Now, the setup process is a little different with Windows than with Linux hosts. So, I'm going to walk through the whole process from prepping my Windows system to creating the inventory file and then to running a playbook. However, anything that doesn't seem clear, I've listed steps in an accompanying text document for you to follow along. The first thing that I need is an actual Windows host to manage. So I went ahead and launched a stock Windows Server 2012 R2 EC2 instance. Out of the box, the Windows instance will have the remote desktop protocol port open, but we also need to add inbound rules for 5986, which is our WinRM connection port. You can see that I've already done that here. We need that port open so Ansible can talk to our Windows host. Once that's set, you need to download some sort of remote desktop client if you aren't using Windows. I'm using Microsoft Remote Desktop for my Mac because I just need to run a PowerShell script on that machine to configure it to talk to Ansible, and then I can go back to my Vagrant instance. To be able to connect, you'll need the default Windows password, which you get when you click connect. And then you would copy and paste in the contents of your private key to allow you to decrypt the password. And that shouldn't be too difficult since we already put that into our Vagrant instance. So just copy and paste that in to get the password. And then you can configure your desktop client. So I'll switch over to that, which is right here. And if I click edit, you can see that I gave it a connection name. I added the username, which is administrator, the default password, which I decrypted and put in here, and then the public IP address, which is listed here. So now I can actually go ahead and open up the box. And that brings me into my Windows Server machine here. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up a PowerShell window. I need to change our execution policy from restricted to unrestricted because right now, by default, I'm not going to be able to execute any scripts. So I'm going to do set execution policy unrestricted, press Y. Okay, that's good to go. And then once that's done, I'll go ahead and open up Notepad and I'm going to copy and paste the raw version of the configure remoting for Ansible script that goes through everything that needs to happen in order to get Ansible to talk to this host. So I'll just go ahead and pull that up just over here and I'll copy this guy, go back over to my host and I'll paste it in. Save this file with the PS1 extension, save. And then I can go back to my PowerShell window and run it. So just press enter there. And it's okay. So everything's good to go. For those of you who are interested in what the script is doing, it's just checking some basic conditions. So whether I have the correct version of PowerShell, whether WinRM is listening, and then it goes and configures WinRM to listen over 5986. Luckily, this script is ready for us to use and we can just run it and start using Ansible with Windows right away. So now that I've executed it and it came back okay, I can go right over to my Vagrant instance and start the configure process for my inventory file and inventory variables. So, unlike managing Linux instances, I'm connecting over WinRM and not over SSH. So, I do need to set some inventory variables to let Ansible know to not do its normal default behavior. So, I prepped my Vagrant box a little bit by creating a new project directory called Windows. And inside that directory, you can see that I moved my Ansible config file over. I have a group vars directory and a hosts file. And inside of my group vars directory, I have a file called Windows. And this is where I'm going to place my inventory variables. So I'll just go ahead and open that up. We'll get these in. First thing I need is the user, which is administrator. And then I need the password, which is super secure as I type it out here. And then I need the port that we're connecting over, which is 5986, as I specified in my inbound security rules. The connection type, which is WinRM. And I'm going to set the server cert validation to ignore. And that's all I need for my inventory variables. Now, just to preview a future lesson, there is a way to mask this password so it doesn't appear in plain text. And we'll talk about that in a future lesson. So I'll save this here. And then I need to go up one and modify my host file, which I already have a Windows group in here to match my group vars file. but now I just need to input the public IP address. So that is 52.34.191.78. Save that. And if everything has gone according to plan, I should be able to ping my host now to see if we have connectivity. So I'll do an ad hoc command for that, just Ansible Windows -i host -m, and then the ping command is actually prefaced with win instead, so it's a win ping instead of just a regular ping. And if we get a pong, that means that we're good to go. So I'll run this, and I got a pong back, which means it was successful. So now what we can do is we can write a playbook to utilize some Windows modules. And that actually concludes part one of our lesson on managing Windows instances. So you can feel free to go on to the next video where we'll actually write that Windows playbook.